Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of movie news, whatever the hell I'm going to call it. I don't know. These are just going to be random movie-related topics to talk about. If there's any more news stuff in the next couple days, then I'll compile them together in a long format, and we'll talk about them. So let's get into our first story, which is Andy Muschietti has confirmed that The Flash will be his next film. Now, The Flash has had a lot of ups and downs when it comes to his production. I think it lost 3 different directors already, and when it comes to the writers, it's been in and out. And Ezra Miller has wanted to do a Flash movie even by himself, like he would write and direct his own Flash film. Obviously, that never took off, and so after the projected success of It Chapter 2, which comes out next week, Andy Muschietti is taking up the reins of the Flash movie. Now, it's interesting because, first of all, we've had James Wan, who is most notably known for horror movies, taking on Aquaman. Then we had, hold on a second. I keep forgetting, David F. Sandberg, sorry. Then we had David F. Sandberg, who is known for Lights Out and Annabelle Creation, taking on Shazam. Both of these directors are horror, but now Andy Muschietti has confirmed that he's doing a DC film. So it's very interesting, this new strategy that's going about with horror directors and taking on superhero concepts. This is actually kind of interesting, and it does fall in line with a certain playbook. I really do think this is a really cool idea when it comes down to it. This idea, I think that's really cool, honestly. We'll have to wait and see anything about it, but personally, I don't like this version of The Flash. Granted, I haven't, read a lot of The Flash, but going by what I saw from Justice League, I wasn't a fan of it. Granted, I did see the original Justice League cartoon, and I think that version of The Flash is a lot better. So maybe if they can channel some of that into the writing of a Flash movie, who knows, maybe it'll work, but yeah. So next up in the news is something that was kind of expected, but I almost thought it wasn't going to happen, and it is this. Spider-Man fans report empty Far From Home extended cut showings. Now, here in Pendleton, we didn't get the extended edition or the extended cut of Avengers Endgame, and I was surprised when I looked at the local listings that we actually do have the extended cut. Now, as far as the description of what the extended cut would cover, I didn't really feel the need to go out and see the movie again based on of it. Now, granted, here's what it would have had. So, the film itself would have had the fight in the bar. You know that one of the first trailers that was released, it was like Spider-Man in the Iron Spider suit just swinging around inside of this really fancy restaurant, taking down like mobsters and whatnot. Yeah, that scene would have still made it. That scene would have been in this extended cut, or is in the extended cut. It would have been part of this whole sequence where it was Spider-Man's to-do list. So it would have been like Peter Parker has to go get a toothbrush and some other supplies for the trip to Europe, and then he has to go grab some headphones or something. Then he had to like get his passport. Spider-Man's to-do list, and it would have been kind of like a home video sort of thing, kind of like what they did with Spider-Man Homecoming, where it was like, oh, this is what happened, between Civil War and now, just like documenting his whole thing. And this would have been documenting his whole thing about like going to Europe. That would have been a really cool thing to have in the original cut, but now it's in the extended cut. But because of what has recently transpired with the Spider-Man deal and how that whole debacle is really taking shape, in terms of whether or not Spider-Man is still in the MCU or not, it's a little bit of a mess. I will admit, it's a very big mess. Personally, I don't feel like they're gonna really leave this deal on the table and not come back to it. I don't know if this deal. I don't know if Sony and Disney will come to an actual agreement. There's been so much new news about this deal. Like originally, Disney wanted to finance 25% of the production and pretty much try to bring in Venom into the MCU like Amy Pascal wanted. But then Sony wasn't responding for some reason. And there's a lot of new news that has been coming about with this whole thing. And, yeah, I'm not a big... I would rather just have them both come to an agreement rather than having one or the other take the full deal. Like, I think both of them work best when they work together. And that's my whole thing. But yeah, so basically getting to this article... Yeah, Spider-Man fans are reporting empty Far From Home extended cut showings. Personally, I wasn't really into trying to go see it. Some Spider-Man fans are taking on to social media with reports of empty or near empty screenings of the extended cut issued to theaters. Thursday, amid online calls for Sony boycott in the wake of the studio's public divorce from Disney-owned Marvel Studios. Then we have this one, Thanos at Fight on Twist yesterday. If this is any indication of how Sony movies will do now that they have pulled out of the deal with Disney, I think Disney fans won't have to worry about much. A whopping 4 seats have been sold for the re-release of Far From Home at my theater. Crazy shit, man. So here's some of this. Let's see. This new footage, described in detail by comicbook.com, includes 3 scenes glimpsed in trailers. Peter's passport pickup, a stop at the deli market operated by Mr. Delmar, played by Hemke Madera, and a quip-filled action sequence pitting an armor-wearing Spider-Man against a restaurant filled with gun-toting thugs, or rather, they were mafia. These and other deleted scenes will be included on the home release, though, which boasts over an hour of bonus features. Kind of upsetting. The film is expected to be available to own digitally starting September 17th. I'm assuming the actual home release would be sometime near October. So yeah, we got some pictures here from, this. Hold on. Let me see if I can open this. My Wi-Fi has been on the fritz. You know what? Fuck it. We're not doing it. But yeah, so everyone's taking pictures of just everyone doing walkouts. It's all over the place. I'm not entirely sure how my local theater is responding to this. We'll have to wait and see. So next topic on our list is the Terminator Dark Fate trailer. Terminator Dark Fate, the first trailer at least, didn't fully sell me on the topic. But this new trailer actually has some promise. Like, the story itself is written by James Cameron, but it does also beg the question, if he wrote the story out, right? If he wrote the story, why didn't he just come back to direct? I understand the need to try to elevate new directors, but this is Jim's baby. This is James's baby, alright? And apparently, according to some interviews out there, that James Cameron actually did watch Terminator Rise of the Machines all the way through Genesis to figure out what not to do with a sequel. So there's some hope there. So basically this trailer kind of sums up what this whole thing is. So we got a new person from the future. She is cybernetically enhanced with something. So kind of pulling a little bit of Terminator Salvation in that case. And then, we get a summary of who Sarah Connor is, and then the person from the future is summarizing, she's summarizing, her, preventing D-Day. Let's see. There was hold on. There was this really, I think, whatever. So yeah, it continues through the trailer, and then Sarah Connor talks about all this stuff about preventing the future war from happening, but just because you prevent the future, this is what she says, so just because you prevent the future doesn't mean you get to change your fate, which is so interesting of a concept. It does feel like something from James Cameron. Like, if you look at a lot of his movies really talk about the downfall of humanity in various aspects. So, for example, with Terminator, it is the downfall of society from the point of perspective on technology. That even transpires into something like Titanic, where he describes Titanic as the downfall of society from the fact that there's so much going on with technological advancements. Everything's going too fast, and we can't see the iceberg ahead. Avatar was the downfall of humanity because of capitalism and imperialism. Just a lot of different themes, and this actually continues this whole thing. I'm not entirely sure what it's really supposed to be about. But maybe our fate as humanity is essentially extinction because of ourselves. Who knows? I have no idea. But it does kind of play back into the original Terminators in a way. But yeah, producer James Cameron returns. We get a new look at the Terminator, played by Gabriel Luna. Let's see. What else do we have here? We get a look at Carl. This is essentially Carl. Even in the credits, he's called Carl. Don't know why he's calling himself Carl when he's a Terminator. But yeah, and for copyright purposes, I'm not actually playing a lot of the footage. That's why I'm kind of skimming through all this stuff. Get to see some new VFX. Get to see new action sequences. That's Terminator Dark Fate for you. I'm not entirely sure what the full story is going to be about. We'll have to wait and see. A lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't think this movie is going to be that great, especially after seeing something like Terminator Genesis. But I have a little faith with this one. Granted, I could be wrong when this comes out on November 1st. So who knows? I'll still review it. And last but not least is D23 released the Rise of Skywalker D23 special look. We don't get much with this special look, by the way. All we get to see is this sort of clip show of the greatest hits of the original trilogy, so things like Emperor, or the Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker fight in Empire Strikes Back, the battle at Death Star 2 over Endor in Return of the Jedi. Then we get to go. Then, surprisingly, they added in the prequel stuff, which Disney had been hesitant on actually talking about for some time. But nowadays, they're less hesitant on it nowadays because they're bringing back Clone Wars for another season next year. For I think its final season, by the way. So yeah, they go through Phantom Menace, the Clone Wars, Revenge of the Sith. And then we get into, The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi kind of stuff. And then we get to the new stuff, which is basically, we get all the gang here. And this looks like a really interesting looking location. I mean, it doesn't really scream any other new. It does scream kind of a new planet, but it looks so similar to Jakku and Tatooine that I'm not entirely sure how they fully differentiate these desert planets. Then we get this shot of Leia, and it's surprising, hearing from, what J.J. Abrams has said and what the cast and crew have said about this film. Apparently, there is some deleted scenes from The Force Awakens that are going to be used for The Rise of Skywalker, rather than, doing sort of a fake CGI face like they did with a young Carrie Fisher in Rogue One. I feel like that's a better way to use a former actor than to use a CG face, right? That's just my opinion. So, the story of a generation. This shot is really cool. I really like this shot. How we have the brightness over here. It's contrasted with the shadows. You get some highlights here. It's really good. That's a really cool shot. That's visually interesting. Even if it's not the most colorful thing, it's a very striking image. And it's something that I don't think has been done in Star Wars before. I like this image. But this stuff here, I like this. It brings up a lot of questions, obviously, because this is all from the original trilogy. I'm not entirely sure if this is like some sort of abandoned section of the Imperial Army, or they were just kind of hiding out. But then, we get the lines of all these different, things. And obviously, Poe and whoever this character is, I'll figure out who this person is later. They're all going there. this has been talked about a lot. You know, C-3PO with the red eyes and whatnot. Not entirely sure what that's about. And it's kind of goofy. I will say it's a little bit goofy for a lot of it. And then we get this. I'm not entirely sure what this whole thing is about. I hope it's not another fucking Death Star situation. So there's that. Then we get Rey as she does like the Force Unleashed like sword toss. Like, that's pretty cool. She catches it. This is pretty cool too. I like the color. I like the fact that, you know, we get Kylo Ren's ship in the background in the foggy mist. Kylo Ren comes out, bam, pops out the sword. It's so visually, it's a visual contrast, and it's so visually stimulating because, again, this goes back to kind of this goes back to the color palette of The Force Awakens with the fight between Kylo Ren and Rey. You know, you get the blues, you get the reds. It's good contrast. And then we get this, which is really cool. We get this fight on what appears to be like wreckage or whatnot in the middle of the ocean between Kylo Ren and Rey. It looks sweet, but someone did notice that if you look closely here, you see a cape here, but you don't see a cape here. Maybe they'll touch it up in VFX post-production, but that looked pretty cool. And then we get to the part that everyone is talking about, and it's this. Rey with a double-bladed lightsaber. Oh, shit. Stop it. Oh, no. What the hell? The hell is going... Okay. But then we get to... Hold on. Shit. But then we get to this. Rey with a double-bladed red lightsaber. This... God, why does it keep doing that? Motherfucker. Okay. So we go back here. Sorry. Okay, Rey with a double-bladed lightsaber. There we go. Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure. It looks ridiculous when it comes to like the hinge and it goes back and whatnot. But that's been in Star Wars before. If you look at what was it? Clone Wars had it. Rebels had it. It's an interesting way to make a double-bladed lightsaber, but again, as a fan of Star Wars, I kind of figured this is all going to be some sort of manipulation by the Ghost Palpatine, or however he's going to be called. I feel like this is manipulation in some way. I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen. But yeah, Star Wars Episode 9, I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen with this. This definitely is kind of the oh shit moment, but for anyone who's a Star Wars fan, I don't think this is true. But if it is true, if this whole thing is true, we can be in for something very interesting. I don't know how this will affect the character of Rey or anything like that. I just don't know. I just don't know what this is gonna go down with. But last but not least, we have the Joker final trailer. Yes, you thought I wasn't gonna cover this, but I am. I've been kind of excited for this take on Joker. There have been many takes upon Joker. If you look at the history of Joker, the character Joker has been through a lot. He's been through being a mob boss. He's been through being just kind of a clown who's just mischievous. Then he became kind of an anarchical, chaotic character. The character has been through so many transformations and has tried to have so many different origins that it doesn't really matter where he comes from. It just matters whether or not you make a good product. And so this final trailer really has me going. So I like this trailer. So the first thing we see in this trailer, we get to see Joaquin Phoenix's version of the Joker. He's taking a bus, probably to Arkham, and he's having some fun with a kid on the bus. It's kind of a nice little touching scene. The mother, of course, doesn't approve of it. It's kind of weird, to have some random guy talk about it or even try to interact with her child. So he's going to Arkham to try, or I think that's Arkham, or his apartment building. I think this is his apartment building. He goes to his apartment, he's trying to fix his boot, his shoe anyway. He looks battered and bruised. This is probably after the whole being beaten up on that street in the first trailer. We get the really good laugh by Joaquin Phoenix. I really enjoy this laugh. I'm not going to play the audio because copyright reasons. But just believe me, I like this laugh. Although what's interesting is that, he's coming out, he's laughing, and then all of a sudden, bam. He is just, solid face, He's instantly just solid face. So his counselor is like, okay, this is the last session. I can't be with you. And I really like this. I like the lighting of this too. So he's like, you just don't get it, do you? You don't even listen. You keep asking me all these vague questions. Do you have negative thoughts? And I like his line, I always have negative thoughts. It's very, very interesting for the character, and I think it's great. Then we transition into him at the hospital. Not entirely sure who this character is, but it's most likely his mom. He catches Robert De Niro on the news, which is interesting, because I actually want someone in the news sphere to actually ask Robert De Niro what actually, pulled you into this project, because Robert De Niro has not really been the most kind when it comes to superhero movies. And when it comes to this movie in particular, not entirely sure how he really felt going into this film. But it's very interesting. I want to know what caused him to be pulled into this project. But yeah, basically, they found a clip of him, Arthur, doing stand-up at this theater. Obviously the media, big guys like him, it's like, oh yeah, this guy's not funny. And obviously, he doesn't take it too well. Doesn't really take it too well in this case. So this fall, we get more of the Joker stuff. I like this. I like the colors of this, by the way. We are all clowns. This is gonna be interesting. You get Zazie Beetz talking to Joker licking paint. That can't be good for you. Crazy. This is pretty cool too. All these slow-mo shots on the stairs. Can't wait to see that. Going to see him doing performances on the big screen, or not on the big screen, but in the comedy club. And we get more of that. Skip through more of this stuff. That's a bit of a creepy image, by the way. Can't wait to see some of this unsettling bullshit. Then we see, I'm assuming this is Thomas Wayne, Bruce Wayne's dad, punches the fuck out of Arthur. I like this shot too. I like the colors. Look at all these interesting colors. Although this looks like a reverse of like the Netflix animation. Just saying. Skip through more of this stuff. Chaos is reigning. I like this too. So, Arthur's asking Robert De Niro if he can introduce him when he goes in as the Joker. He gives himself the name the Joker rather than the media adding that name to him, which is really good. I like that. More chaos ensues. I like this too. I like the lighting of this. It looks so warm amidst the chaos that's happening. So that's cool. And boom, Joker. That's all you need to see. Again, some people are a little bit mixed on this. I'm very much interested in this Joker trailer. What do you guys think of this Joker trailer? I think it's pretty cool. I'm interested in seeing it next month or in 2 months. Less than a month. I have no idea. Today's August 30th, so it's close to about a month. So yeah, what do you guys think of all the news that I covered today? Write your opinions down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.